Real Madrid are ready to splash 120 million euros on a Chelsea star. It's all change again at Manchester United. Rúben Amorim is facing the sack, and the club have already lined up his replacement. Has Bernardo Silva said yes to a Saudi move? And Everton are planning a raid on Arsenal for a striker. We're covering all that and more in today's video. Guys, let's try and hit 350 thumbs up on this one. Your support helps us make even better content for you. Let's get right into the latest transfer gossip. Manchester City midfielder Bernardo Silva appears to be on his way out of England. The Portuguese is reportedly in talks over a move to the Saudi Pro League. With his contract expiring at the end of the season, the timing makes sense. Silva was heavily linked with a move to the Middle East last summer, but he reportedly rejected a very lucrative offer at the time. The reason? He wanted to focus on his performances for City ahead of the 2026 World Cup. It's not as if he's been warming the bench. This season, the 31-year-old has been a key figure in Pep Guardiola's squad, starting 4 of the 6 league games and making 2 further appearances as a substitute. Nevertheless, the general consensus is that Silva's time in England is coming to an end. With his contract expiring next summer, he will be free to negotiate a pre-contract agreement with a foreign club from the start of 2026. TalkSport reports that Al Ahly and Al Qadsiya are the most likely contenders, having already confirmed their interest. They are preparing a new, very serious attempt to sign the Manchester City playmaker. The outlet specifies that the midfielder is being offered a lucrative 4-year contract. As a reminder, last summer Silva turned down a staggering offer of £700,000 a week from Al Hilal. At the time, he made it clear he intended to stay in Manchester. But now, the situation has apparently changed. Al Ahly and Al Qadsiya are the latest teams to show serious intent. But Al Nassr could also join the race. For Silva himself, this move could be an ideal option. It represents a new challenge for him, and the lower intensity of the Saudi Pro League could extend his playing career. And of course, there's the money. If he moves to Saudi Arabia in the summer, he stands to earn a significant amount. At this stage of his career, that could be a very tempting proposition. Manchester City, however, will face the difficult task of finding a worthy replacement. You know what's easier than finding a replacement for Bernardo Silva? That's right, subscribing to this channel. City are facing months of scouting and tens of millions in spending, whereas for you, it's just one click on the subscribe button and another on the bell. Do the easy part and stay informed on how City will solve their complex problems. Silva has been a key player for them for many years. Losing the Portuguese international will only complicate matters. They will need to sign a player just as versatile as he is in the summer. Replacing him will be no easy task. He has successfully handled various roles in the team and has always performed at a very high level. For the Saudi clubs, signing a player of his caliber would be a huge coup. It would bring even more global attention to the league. In short, all signs point to Bernardo's era at City coming to an end, with the Saudi league gaining another major star. Gabriel Jesus is back in the transfer gossip columns again. Reports from AS Roma Live are saying that Everton are keen on signing the 28-year-old Arsenal striker next year. Sources are claiming the deal could be worth around £25 to £30 million. That's a pretty reasonable price, given his experience and reputation. The big question, though, is whether Everton are actually ready to splash that cash. Jesus is in a tough spot at Arsenal. Since Victor Gyökeres arrived, he's dropped down the pecking order. And Kai Havertz often gets the nod ahead of him in attack. For the Brazilian, the writing's on the wall. He's just not going to see regular minutes in London. That's why these rumors make sense. To get his form and confidence back, he needs a club that will trust him to play week in, week out. And that's where Everton fit in. David Moyes' team is in desperate need of more firepower up front. Last season, they had real problems putting the ball in the back of the net. Signing a player of Jesus' caliber could be a game changer for the Toffees. He doesn't just score, he creates chances for others too. Everton have to get better results if they want to cement a place in the top half of the table. A proven PL striker is exactly what they need. Jesus learned his trade at Man City and then played for Arsenal, so he knows the English game inside and out. What's interesting is that, according to sources, the player himself is open to a move. He gets it. His chances at Arsenal are limited, and trying to compete with Gyökeres and Havertz right now is a losing battle. So the Everton move actually looks pretty logical. It's a step down in status, sure, but a big step up for his game time. Jesus has been linked with clubs outside of England, but a move within the Premier League seems the most likely option. Everton get a proven fighter for a decent price, and Gabriel gets a chance to get his career back on track. Right now, it all comes down to Everton's decision. If they make an official bid, this deal could really happen. A 25 to 30 million pound fee is hardly crazy in the current market. And the upside of a signing like this could be huge. It all depends on whether Everton will go for it. But the fact this is being talked about so much suggests Jesus is truly on his way out of Arsenal. Chelsea are reportedly willing to part with one of their most expensive assets. Team Talk reports that the London club are prepared to consider the sale of Enzo Fernandez to Real Madrid. However, not immediately, but in the summer of 2026. The Argentine has been actively linked with a move to the Santiago Bernabéu for about a year, and it now seems Enzo Maresca's side are willing to discuss a deal if a suitable offer arrives. But there is an important caveat. Team Talk claims a deal can only happen if Real Madrid are genuinely prepared to pay a serious sum. As a reminder, Chelsea paid a club record €121 million to sign Fernandez from Benfica in January 2023. Los Blancos would have to exceed that figure if they are serious about bringing the 24-year-old to the Spanish capital. Numerous reports indicate that Fernandez is Xabi Alonso's top target for a midfield position. Real Madrid are expected to make their move after the 2025/26 season concludes. Friends, let's take a quick pause so you can give this video a like or a dislike. Any reaction is important. Thank you for your engagement, it really helps the channel. Yes, Los Blancos already have plenty of options in central midfield, with Aurelien Tchouameni, Federico Valverde, and Eduardo Camavinga, but they are still keen to add Fernandez to their ranks. On the other hand, Enzo leaving Chelsea seems incredibly unlikely. He has 7 years remaining on his current contract, which expires in 2032. This gives the Blues a very strong negotiating position. The club is not actively looking to sell the Argentine. However, they are prepared to consider offers if the price is right. So, while they don't plan to force him out, if Real Madrid arrive with a huge offer, a conversation will take place. Madrid's interest, meanwhile, remains, and insiders advise taking it quite seriously. One source stated, "I don't think it would be impossible to get him if they are genuinely prepared to spend serious money." Real Madrid's need to strengthen their midfield is evident. The coaching staff have been concerned about a lack of control in key matches in recent months. A player like Enzo Fernandez is seen as an opportunity to acquire both immediate quality and future potential. Xabi Alonso is looking for a midfielder who can play deep, breaking up attacks while also creating chances. Fernandez fits this role perfectly and can also burst into the box if needed. Furthermore, his South American background typically helps with a quicker adaptation to Spanish football, which is another plus. Madrid's board, according to official club information, prioritizes transfers that can deliver results here and now, ensuring stability at the top level. So, the interest in Enzo fits their strategy perfectly. The main difficulty will be negotiating with Chelsea. The London club is not in a position to easily part with its stars, especially one for whom they paid a gigantic fee and who is under contract until 2032. The task will be to convince Chelsea, as they are under no obligation to sell and can demand almost any price they wish. Spanish outlet Fichajes is reporting that Liverpool are close to a controversial move for Everton's Jarrad Branthwaite. According to their report, the deal would be worth €74 million. It's a huge rumor, but it sounds rather outlandish, doesn't it? Transfers between Everton and Liverpool have been almost unheard of in recent years, let alone for the Toffees' brightest young star. Presumably, Liverpool see the 23-year-old defender as a long-term replacement for Virgil van Dijk. There is logic in that. Branthwaite is young, already adapted to the Premier League, and plays with great maturity. However, a lot of questions immediately arise. Firstly, the source itself, Fichajes, isn't the most reliable, so this news should be taken with a significant pinch of salt. Moreover, more reputable sources like Football Insider are refuting the information. Their insiders state that Everton defender Jarrad Branthwaite will not be sold in January. Everton's position is said to be rock solid. The player is not for sale. Sources report that the Toffees will reject all offers for their star center back as they look to build for the future. And these aren't just empty words. Branthwaite only signed a new 5-year contract last summer, tying him to the club until 2030. Why would they let their main asset go, especially to their bitter rivals? The €74 million fee also seems strange, to say the least. Half the Premier League is chasing Branthwaite, including Manchester United, who are rumored to be willing to pay a similar amount. Why would Everton sell their key player, a young and promising Englishman, to their local rivals, when they could spark a bidding war and make far more. The idea that a deal has already been agreed seems far from reality. So, to sum up, the idea of Branthwaite moving to Liverpool makes sense for the Reds, but the report of a deal being on the verge of completion for 74 million euros is most likely a fabrication. Everton will hold on to their player for as long as possible, especially in the winter window. In the summer, things could change, of course. And if an offer they can't refuse comes in, the Toffees might be tempted. But selling him to their arch rivals and not even for the highest possible market price, that's very hard to believe. For now, this looks more like a classic newspaper rumor to stir things up during the quiet periods. Manchester United's slide just goes on, and it feels like the belief in Rúben Amorim is draining away week by week. The Red Devils lost again, 3-1 to Brentford this time, and that defeat just proved it. We've seen zero progress since the Chelsea game. You might have thought that win against Maresca's team was the turning point, but let's be honest, that game was a chaotic mess. There was no rhyme or reason to it. Even Chelsea taking off nearly all their attackers in the first half told you everything you needed to know. United are still stalling and Amorim is drowning in criticism. Ex-Chelsea man Joe Cole said it straight. I don't think so. He's had plenty of time to get his ideas across. It's not just Amorim, there are loads of problems at the club, but he looks worried on the bench, anxious, and I think the players feed off that. The fact he's never won 2 league games in a row is a massive worry. I think the club needs to go in a new direction. Now, Jim Ratcliffe, one of the co-owners, apparently wants Gareth Southgate as the next manager. It's a pretty divisive idea. On the one hand, he's English, which is a bonus, and he's been with the national team for ages, so he knows the Premier League inside out. He's got club experience too, even if it's debatable. But on the other hand, there's the football. Even Southgate's biggest fans would struggle to defend it. It's dull, pragmatic, and predictable. But you could argue it's clear and systematic. You can't call Southgate a write-off for United, but calling him the answer to all their prayers? Not a chance. Right now, Southgate looks like a real possibility. And it's clear Ratcliffe wants that type of manager. A safe bet, calm, no crazy experiments. Though if Fabrizio Romano is to be believed, Javi is desperate for the United job. The only question is, can he actually handle this team? The Catalan would be a blockbuster appointment, a huge name, but is there any guarantee he'd stick it out for the long haul? Guys, don't leave this video without letting us know what you think. It makes a huge difference to the channel. Hit that like or dislike button, do it right now, and drop a comment. We'd really appreciate it. Southgate definitely feels like the more reliable option here, but of course, every fan will have their own take. Tell us in the comments, who's the best fit for United right now? Southgate, Javi, or someone else? And now, Wayne Rooney has weighed in. The club legend absolutely slammed them. The club has lost its soul, and I'm worried if Amorim can turn it around after a shocking start to the season. Amorim's my age, he's a young manager with a big future. But what's happening now? That's not Manchester United. I really hope he can turn it around, but if you ask me, do you think he will? To be honest, from what I've seen, I've got no belief whatsoever. And the stats don't make for good reading. Under Amorim, the team's played 33 league games. Only 9 wins, 17 losses, and 7 draws. That leaves them in 14th place with just 7 points from 6 matches. TalkSport is reporting the new front-runner for the job is Oliver Glasner, the guy currently in charge at Crystal Palace. Amorim spent nearly £200 million in the summer, mostly on attackers, and has nothing to show for it. Just 2 wins in 7 games this season. That's nowhere near good enough for a club like United after that kind of spending. And Glasner, he's the complete opposite. His Palace team are unbeaten in 18 games in all competitions. He's beaten Liverpool twice, a team United were totally lost against. The Austrian, who only came to English football last year, has already shown he can build a system and get results against the big boys. No wonder his name is popping up for the United job. So, United have a choice to make. Southgate is the safe bet, Javi is the big name, and Glasner is the man in form. But while Amorim keeps on losing games and the fans' trust, this isn't just speculation. This is a real list of contenders to replace him. So, what's your verdict? Southgate, Javi, or Glasner? Who should be the next manager of Manchester United? Get in the comments, because it feels like a change at Old Trafford is coming very, very soon.